So, Bob, I'm question for you. 6 months ago, have you ever heard the word or the phrase social distancing?
6 months ago? No.
I think
probably not even 3 months ago.
So was that word invented for the pandemic?
No, I bet you in scientific circles, it's a well-known concept.
Really?
I bet you it even came out during SARS or whatever those other massive viruses were.
MERS, Mid-Eastern Respiratory Syndrome, SARS, which is sudden acute respiratory system, I think, or syndrome. I don't know.
Which was also a COVID, right?
Yes.
Were those both COVID?
I think they're both are. They're both coronaviruses, which is funny because I saw a clip on the news where a certain White House administrator called it or said, "This isn't COVID-1, this is COVID-19." Like it's the 19th iteration. I'm like, question. Nah, forget it. Just keep going.
So let me ask you a question. When somebody like that is on the televisions and they make a statement like that, and then when they get home and they've taken their shoes off and maybe poured themselves a nice drink and sitting down with the family, does anybody look at that person and go, you realize that really wasn't a thing that you should have said, right? Like there's no math there.
Well, in most cases, you're right. Probably not. But you know who that person's married to, don't you?
Right. I don't think he'd let her off the hook.
No, not at all. Not one bit. So,
but also just as personal reflection, wouldn't you sit there and be like, "Ah, man, I screwed that up." That it's really not tied to like 1 through whatever.
it would eat me alive because it's you want to get it right. You don't want to make a fool of yourself in front of everyone. But I think it has a lot to do with being conscientious or not. Some people are just like, whatever, I don't care what people think. You know, it's kind of like the old joke with Preparation H. Would you have liked to have been the beta tester for Preparation A through G? You know, H, finally. There's the soothing relief I was looking for. Oh.
But wait, I thought the H was for hemorrhoid.
No, dang it. I'm now qualified for the White House is what you're telling me.
At least to be a surrogate or spokesperson or whatever they're calling that person.
I think she was the campaign manager for a while. Then, just like politics. Boy. Oh, you were part of my campaign. Therefore, you're qualified to be Secretary of State or whatever. It's like, what? It's like, okay. So, yeah, whatever.
Oh, Kellyanne. Oh, Kellyanne.
You are listening to the Bob and Kevin Show with Bob Beattybar and Kevin Gishesky.
Each week we cover relevant tech and social issues related to technology.
Our website is bobandkevin.show.
And our episodes can be found virtually on any podcast network.
Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
Just search for Bob and Kevin Show.
Well, anyway, we're not here to poke fun at politicians the entire time. You know what? One thing I was thinking about the other day is we haven't really dragged our friend Zuckerberg through the mud lately. I think maybe we'd get a chance to do a little bit of that today, right?
Yeah, and it's good timing because I just watched The Social Network for the first time ever. Turns out it's a 10-year-old movie now at this point. I'm like, wow, I better watch that. So I did.
So I think I only watched it within the last couple of years. I thought it aged pretty well when I had seen it. How about you?
I thought it was great because I already don't like the man. But somebody chimed in on the Twitters basically saying it's whoever made the movie had it out for Zuckerberg and then they dramatized it, which I don't dispute at all. But it sure is not a good PR video. But that's 10 years old. 2010 is when that movie came out. So that's the opinion of some filmmaker that long ago. And now throw in Cambridge Analytica, throw in all these crazy Facebook twists and turns and trying to rephrase everything so it sounds friendly, but it's not really any better. Yeah, that was actually, I think, ahead of its time.
Yeah, I think the guy who did put that together was either a great prognosticator or just could see the writing on the wall that maybe no one was paying attention to at the time.
Yeah, because if I would have watched that in 2010, I would have been probably, I don't know, more dismissive. I'd be like, oh, it's just Facebook. Because I was a Facebook user at the time. I probably had only just signed up maybe a year before 2010.
And you probably would have been more sympathetic to like, oh, I think you probably would have agreed more. Oh, someone just had it in for Zuckerberg and doesn't really, know what's going on.
They're just jealous or whatever. Yeah. But
exactly.
Looking back now, the 2020 edition of Kevin, oh no, I think it's like, yeah, I want some more of that. Where's the Social Network Part 2?
Yeah, give us the sequel.
Give me the mini series at this point. They've got enough material.
Actually, I wonder if that Cambridge Analytica documentary was kind of the sequel, but because sequels tend to go off the main script a little bit. I don't know. It could be argued that it was the sequel. Yeah,
totally different genre of music, a drama versus a documentary, but I digress. But yeah, my opinion of Zuckerberg didn't get any better. That's for sure.
Well, the real reason why I brought you here today for this meeting, Kevin, was kind of to talk a little bit, obviously, about some social media stuff, because I saw an article the other day on CNN, which, take that with a grain of salt or whatever, because some of their stuff's been pretty outrageous lately too. But it was a cautionary clickbait link on their homepage about being cautious about sharing your high school senior photo, and here's why.
Why?
And I opened up the article and I opened up the article and I was like, damn. And I started to piece together all this stuff. So basically, it appears to me, I'm going to ask you for some validation on this and we can discuss some of these points. But it appears to me, if you're thinking about when you set up a new, highly secure account on the internet, not only do you create your username and your password, but you create this long list of challenge questions in case they need to verify your identity if you've lost your password. Some sites actually present you with those questions even if you had your password correct. So I was kind of going through the list of those things in my mind, and I am still on Facebook, for the record. Kevin is not, so he might not see as much of this, but some of this stuff does bleed into Twitter and Instagram as well. Posts like, hey, I know we're bored in the lockdown. Come join me in this fun activity. List all the places that you've lived since you were born. The cities. And I'm like, oh shit, that's a security question. I saw another one. Post pictures of all the cars or describe all the cars you've owned in order. Like all these things are very specific about the in order part. And I'm like, wow, I bet you there's scraping technology that can find all these posts and start to build out that high resolution avatar that we've talked about many times on this show.
So,
and get into your stuff.
So I read the article. It's actually very short, but so you're not wrong thinking, oh, security questions. You're right. In fact, this is one of the oldest yet most successful ways of hacking. It's called social engineering. Get people to...
Oddly enough, that's what I pre-titled the episode.
Nice. So, basically you're just finding ways to use psychology to get people to aid and abet their breaking and entering, if you will. So social engineering covers phishing, spear phishing, but it's also, just reconnaissance and just asking people questions. I think the oldest form of this, yes and no, is kind of like chain letters. So back in the day, pre-technology, the reason it's called chain letters is you used to get a letter in the mail, then it asked you to send the same letter, copy it, and send it to 10 people, and so on and so forth. And, buried in there is basically some sort of scam, whether it's obvious or not, and this is just a way to propagate it. Then it turned into technology where you have, hey, share this post. And if you don't, Jesus hates you or you're going to hell. They put some sort of a hook in there that gets you to do this. And then I for whatever reason, humans like to do this. So maybe it's yet another flaw of humanity. But the next iteration is what you're describing is, hey, do this thing. And because it tugs on people's, I want to participate too. Ooh, I've got an interesting list. And they throw it out there, not thinking that, just 2 years ago, car number 2 or car number 1 is the security question to your bank, because it's disassociated now at this point in time. And with Facebook, they should really rename Facebook to Leaky Sieve, but I don't think it has the same panache as Facebook. But so, you for sure have said, hey, once you put it on the internet, it's out there. And you're also the first will say is, there's no such thing as privacy out there. Once you put it out there, even if they say, oh, this is protected privacy, you got a little checkbox. See, you click that checkbox right there. It's safe. Excuse me. Well, that's no such thing. It's just that checkbox, and I can select star in your database and fuck you, right?
Help me with some of the technical aspects of this, because I think you might understand them a little bit better than I do. Here's my hypothesis. Somebody nefarious starts the new chain letter, the digital chain letter, and they post it probably from a fabricated account. But if that original post, because really the instructions on all those things are like, share this post and put your answers in. It's got to reference back to the original poster somehow, correct? So you mentioned the digital chain letters, share this or Jesus is going to hate you type thing. And it's usually like an image meme or something along those lines. Do you think that those were used for like list generation initially? So they would get the account information and then they could do a lookup and get the email address and they would build a spam database. I'm assuming that's how this all started.
So I think one difference here is a chain letter initially is designed to kind of, like I said, generate spam emails. But I think a modern hacker attempts to have a target. So if they're like, hey, we need to get into Bob's account. And we know Bob banks at pick a bank, Acme Corp Bank. And Acme Corp, they kind of fucked up because they only ask these 3 questions for their security questions. They don't ask like 12, pick one of these 12 or what. They only ask these 3. So now
wait. Do you think they target the individual first, or do they know that Acme only has 3 questions, so they start a viral thing that's looking for those 3 pieces of data?
I think it's whatever their intent is. So if they want to attack Acme Corp Bank and they know that, hey, you know what? It turns out they only asked these 3 questions. So over time, we can generate these things. And then once we get a list of Acme Corp emails, or, like user IDs, let's say they got it off the dark web or whatnot. So they're like, hey, these are the 5,000 people we can try to go after. So what we want to do is start this thing. So starting something viral isn't just something you snap your fingers or just hit send on Twitter and it's suddenly viral. So it may fail to launch, if you will. But every now and then they take off. And, like you said, it's just one data point, because how often, and please don't answer this question, how often do you change your security questions? I will go with not often. In fact,
I'm even trying to think of the UX to see. I wonder how easy it is to actually do that in most places.
Right. They ask the questions and then wait, how do I change those? Well, what was your favorite whatever when you were growing up? I don't even remember anymore, what it was. So there's that. But, more concrete things like, what was your first car? What was your first elementary school name? Because, we're old enough. What was the big security question at the credit checks? What's your mother's maiden name? So they've kind of backed away from that one a little bit. Banks still ask that one. But that one was what? It was predictable. So now, they kind of expanded it to what's your favorite teacher's name? What was your favorite restaurant when you were 7? Or, they get hyper specific sometimes. And that's fine and good. What's your favorite fictional character? I've seen that one. But you're right. A lot of these turn into viral memes. And I just don't think that it's coincidence that they turn into these social media posts. I think that there's someone going, fuck yeah, this thing's taken off. Hey, start harvesting this stuff, and then we'll triangulate, because guess the 1 or 2 organizations that are really good at taking disparate internet information and tracking it back to an individual. Facebook and Google, right? So,
and that's also, I think, a really good segue for some later stuff, but I'll hang on to that one. But it's not just me, right? It is way more than coincidental.
Oh, it's way more than coincidental. And I'm a little disappointed at some people. I won't name names, but there's some big people with many 100,000 followers in the tech industry. So if that kind of narrows it down, who participate in these lists. And when you see somebody do that and you've got a reach so big, what does it encourage people to do? Right. I want to engage
jump on board
with pseudo celebrity tech person. And, it's like, so I really feel that when a person with a lot of followers, actually when anyone does it, it's bad. And when somebody who has a lot of followers gets duped into it, I really think they should know better, especially if next to your name is, I work at insert big tech here and, former big tech there, it's like, come on, you really have no security sense at all. You're a web developer for crying out loud.
Well, I think that at the heart of it all, unfortunately or fortunately, we're all people. I mean, that's how social engineering works.
Yep.
I mean, it used to primarily happen on the telephone. Someone would call into a place that had some kind of, access that somebody wanted, and they would socially engineer them verbally over the phone, sometimes with a series of calls to different members of the same organization. Right. But I mean, now it's moved to this more en masse avatar building, data harvesting, and another thing that I thought of, especially about the high school seniors, remember the Face app when that first came out that made you look older? Do you remember that one?
Oh, God, yes.
So there was a scam associated with that one that it was believed that they were harvesting photos for creating fake accounts, right? Is that one of the conspiracy theories on that one?
I'm not aware of any specific one, but I'm not at all surprised because there's these AI or whatever you want to call them. You can create fake faces. Have you seen those articles where they show you these 10 pictures? These 10 people don't exist because they're all 100% computer generated. And so I don't know that they would need to take real photos to be able to create these people that don't exist for fake avatars. But I think we're moving more and more to, this 1984 surveillance society where my face is being cataloged. By who? Well, right now, anyone can do it. Bob, I can catalog your photo right now if I want, and you can't do nothing about it, right?
Oh, yeah. So actually, they could be getting younger versions with the high school photo to be able to do some compositing to get a better accurate match on your face, I would imagine.
Well, yeah. I mean, your eyes, the certain data points of your face, no matter your age, don't really change. And so the 20-year-old you versus the 50-year-old you, the facial recognition should be able to pick that out. It's not like it's analyzing your skin has changed, your hair has changed much. It's eyes, nose. It's the triangle that is created during, here, and here, that sort of thing.
Right. And that's kind of like that 10-year challenge where you'd put a picture of yourself from 10 years ago right next to a picture of yourself now. I'm sure that was harvesting facial recognition. And did you see the latest one? Our first picture or whatever it's...
No. The one I see going around on Twitter right now is post a picture of yourself at 20 or whatever.
Oh, God. Yeah. But there's a new one on Facebook, too, where you're posting a picture of you and your spouse, like your first couple's picture. It's got to all be harvesting. It has to be.
Well, there's plenty of people who love to be able to share because I think it's part of humanity. People want to share like, yeah, I want to be included. Yeah, hey, check this out. Because in a way, it's a little bit of humble bragging. Yeah, look at me when I just got married. Here's my wedding photo when I was actually skinny, Hey, yeah, I was actually skinny. Now I'm me. So
that leads to my next question, though. It's a chicken or egg question. Do the viral things start and then bad actors jump on board and harvest the data? Or is the viral activity the precursor? Like, is it all tied to the nefarious behavior?
I'll answer your question with another statement type question. Is the stock market a bear, or is it good to be in a bear market or a bull market? It depends. And so depending on the current situation, you may be in charge. You may be the ones pushing the viral thing, or you may be the one just sitting there going, "Hey, let me take advantage of this one." So I think it's both. Because if one's organic and be like, Sally, she creates this thing and she's totally not a hacker and she puts one out and it goes viral. You'd be dumb if you're a hacker to not pay attention to that, right?
Right. Gosh, but then that makes me feel badly because maybe it is completely innocent and I'm just the nefarious jerk who thinks that it's part of a harvesting trip.
I think it could be both. I think it's easier to just latch onto the ones that are already viral than it is to start one and hope it goes viral, because you just can't invent viral overnight. Unless it's a cat photo, then you can.
Well, this is the one where I really want listeners to hit us up on social media and tell us what they think, what the chicken and the egg thing is. Is it nefarious from the gate, or are these things going viral innocently and hackers can latch on top of them and build data repositories based on what people are sharing?
Yeah.
So definitely hit us up on that one.
I'm still the get off my lawn guy with privacy, where I still think it should be some sort of legislation that says that you have to disclose to, let's say I'm running an internet company and I've collected data on you, Bob, and I have never gotten an opt-in from you. I should, A, probably be prohibited from that, and B, if I've ever gotten an opt-in from you, I should let you know through a monthly report that says, you know what, just so you know, I still have this opt-in. Because what really happens, I think, is you opt in all these places, you hit the cookie button, accept cookies, you do this, you click all this because there's 15 modal boxes so you can read the fucking article, and then you're like, oh, thank God. But one of those was, we're going to track you forever. And I think...
Well, I think all of them have opt-ins. I mean, you're opt-in when you agree to terms of service.
Yeah, but here's the twist for me. I think at the end of the year, they should disclose, hey, I'm the New York Times, I have this opt-in from you, just letting you know. Electronic distribution, so that you can actually see, oh yeah, I do have that opt-in, I forgot about that, or the other thing that really chaps my ass is the terms of service usually has a clause. I don't think that's a Midwestern phrase, by the way, but maybe it is. No. Yeah, so it's like the Inception terms of service, because every terms of service has a clause that says at any point we can just change this and not even have to tell you, really. We're just going to change the rules. And you're still
opted in.
Right. So I think there needs to be a really long, hard thought out thing that maybe a tech company who's got so much revenue, whatever the metric is, they have to now electronically disclose. And maybe I don't want 500 emails from 500 different tech companies saying, hey, we've got this disclosure. So maybe it needs to be reported to the central repository. And I get an annual report that says I'm opted into all these things. For crying out loud, we got credit report, bureaus. Why can't we have like data report bureaus or something?
That's actually pretty brilliant.
Well, I try. That's my one thing. All right, that was the Bob and Kevin show.
I think we're just gonna
end it right there.
I think we're gonna fold up our little show and never broadcast again, because Kevin actually solved the problem.
What do we do now?
Well, you did see that article that I shared with you earlier today about the digital assistant for making sure that your digital assistant privacy settings are all in check. See that?
Full disclosure, I haven't read the article. So, Bob, would you please enlighten me?
Well, it's just one of those ridiculous solutions to a problem that the ridiculous solution probably doesn't fix the problem. It was basically, the article was talking about data leakage and your digital assistants, and are they constantly listening? Are there features that you could set? And it kind of bled into social media too. Are privacy settings that you should be looking at not being looked at? Along the lines of the annual reminder that you just brought up, but the solution that was being presented was a digital assistant to monitor all your security settings and notify you about, but then of course you would have to opt that digital assistant in to all your accounts to check your privacy settings. That doesn't seem like anything could go wrong there, right?
No, I mean, we live in a world where we think we've evolved to the point where we think big tech can police itself. This is like having a chicken coop outside. The fox stops by. Is like, hey man, what's going on? I'm like, hey, what you doing here? Hey, no worries. I'll just watch all your chickens for you. Is that cool? Yeah, cool, man. And then you go back in, and then you come back out. Now, you didn't see the fox take the chickens, but the chickens are definitely gone. So I don't think big
and the
tech,
fox is like, I don't know what happened.
No, I think you went that way. So I think at this point, and this is where like people who don't like government regulation will hate me, but I think at this point we need a regulatory agency that we regulate people's finances. Like my credit, and I think I'm going to keep coming back to this one now. My credit, what if it's wrong? I mean, there's a lot that hangs in the balance of. Yeah, there's a lot that hangs in the balance if that report's right or if it's wrong. So why is it that we can let people just amass data on us, let other people buy that data, do these background checks on information that we can't even see? I don't even have, like, if I do a background check on you, Bob, it'll say, okay, here's all your court filings and whatnot, and here's some other things. So the court filings are public record, but from what I understand, there's a lot of non-public information also in background checks. And unless you have some sort of right to look at your background check, how would you ever know, or how would you ever be able to audit? It's like, wait, you made this decision on this report by this third party that's unregulated, and I don't even get a free copy. Where in the financial industry, you can get a free copy of your shitty credit score if you'd like, or something,
Right. But then you also, because of that, have the ability to dispute it and get it corrected if it's incorrect.
Right. So, and that always takes me back
but
to...
we can't audit our own data.
What right does somebody have to collect information about other people? Well, there's nothing that says you can't. But, man, that sure feels shitty. And that's where I think our legislation has a huge hole. Like Facebook, Zoom and Facebook just had a divorce because people were like, hey, Zoom, you've got this Facebook API going. And Facebook's like, oh, well, we don't collect any of that. We don't eavesdrop on any of your stuff. It's like, well, I don't have Facebook. So what data are you sending to Facebook during these Zoom meetings? It's like, wait, something doesn't add up here, because Facebook's always got that, we just want to be able to target or give you ads that you want.
But
hey,
Zoom doesn't have an advertising model.
Disclaimer, I don't want any ads, Facebook. Just shut that shit off. So yeah, I don't get it. I don't trust Facebook at all. And Google is a close second to me, because Google and Facebook aren't social media companies, especially Google. But I don't think, I've said this many times, and I'm broken record. Facebook is not a social media company. It is an advertising company that happens to hook your ass in because it has relationship status and a place for you to tell us about your fucking kids. I have kids, so okay, you're nice kids. Man, this is getting weird. I love everyone's kids, kind of. If they're mine, that is. Okay, this is getting really awkward. All right. Anyway, my point is, the Facebook is like, it's an advertising company that happens to just have bait everywhere to trap your ass in there. And that's the way I view it. Of course, a lot of people are like, oh, Kevin, you're just saying that. They got to pay for it. How do you expect it to be free? I would like it to just burn down, frankly. I don't care if it's paid for, but that's just me. Anyway, that was a long rant. I'm sorry.
Man.
I apologize.
No worries. So I feel like we have some good segue material here to actually bridge over to, because we're talking about privacy.
Yes.
And we started the show talking about, the current lockdown situation, COVID faux pas by administrators and whatnot. But to swing it back to technology, or keep it with technology, you sent me an article about Apple and Google, and I saw this one as well, when you use your phones for coronavirus tracking devices.
Yeah. So it sounds like a really good idea, but I'm just trying to remain somewhat objective here. There's a couple things that are good, and there's a couple things that scare the crap out of me. Which ones would you like first, Bob?
Oh, man. I'm going to go with scare the crap out of me first, because that
fine.
seems more fun.
So,
unless you want to do good first, you could do good.
Nope, that's fine. The good is we might be able to socially distance better and be able to have some good or better data on stuff so long as...
So explain to me the social distance better. So with the app, you could look and see where there's clusters of people?
Clusters of people and infected people, so you can stay away. So now...
Is your right to be infected and not known, is that a right of privacy, though?
I believe it is, because that's HIPAA, if you ask me. But, so, the crux of this is you have to opt in. So, right there is almost like, this is doomed, because if I got coronavirus, I'm not going to hit the slider that says, hey, I'm infected, I mean...
I'm positive.
Yeah. And when Apple and Google say, oh, well, this is... anonymous data. I kind of look at him like that one meme, like, so you're saying that you won't be able to tell it's me? Are you kidding me? I have like this device ID. You can fingerprint my device. Facebook knows how many corn kernels of poop came out with my poop today. All right, they know everything about me. So
I think you've used that analogy before, or comparison, or description. I don't know. It sounds familiar.
I mean, so Facebook has it down. So you're telling me when I hit this slider, it says, hey, I'm infected, and you're just going to collect my stats, that nobody nowhere is going to correlate these things. And I call complete and utter bullcrap. So I guess I'm segueing into the scaring the crap out of me stuff with corn. Sorry. Visual.
Okay, but how is this different? I guess it's different because they know, because you've opted in, but haven't some companies already released anonymized?
Yeah, I can never say that word either. I was trying to say it, but I totally bailed.
Data that's been made anonymous, tracking those kids that were on spring break.
Yeah, does that not scare you that they can show like this migratory pattern of people? I mean, on one hand, on the left hand, you're like, hey, this is great data for somebody for great reasons. And on the other hand, you're like, holy fucking shit, Batman, what the hell is going on here? Right?
Right. And they could, with the data that they have available, they could associate. I mean, yes, they made that data anonymous, but obviously, they could associate a device ID with any one of those little blips on that map.
That's an anonymous blob, but it happens to be in Bob's apartment. Weird.
Exactly.
Good thing we don't know who it is.
So I guess one of my questions is, does the app actually matter?
Well, yeah. I mean, because I think the idea is they want to be able to have people be able to self-report. I got tested. It was negative. I got tested. I was positive, etc.
Right. But I got tested at a facility where I had to give my name, address, contact information. Probably one of those pieces of contact information was my cell phone, since most people have cell phones and not landlines. So the hospital could therefore release the number, which could be tied to the device ID without even the opt-in. So they probably are tracking those people, honestly.
I like where your head's at. And there's HIPAA laws that protect me because I'm talking to my healthcare provider, and my healthcare provider is already well trained on, personal health information, PHI, where if I just willy-nilly put it on my phone, I've probably just, I've just given up my rights, in the name of public health. And now they don't know who you are. It's anonymous. Bullshit, right? So, yeah, you're right. I don't see the point in this app right now. Humbly.
But is the world applauding them for wanting to do this? Or are they...
Well, a lot of people have brought up the privacy thing with this. So let's get more into what scares me, if you don't mind. So
yeah, no, go.
One of the things that they said they can do is they don't even need you to restart your phone or download anything. We'll just push it to you. And so right there, you're just like, what?
I have so many questions already. Yeah.
It's like, wait a second. So if I'm the FBI and I get a warrant and I just want to push some code to Bob's phone, that's just like a built-in thing? What? Right?
I have it on relatively good authority that, yeah, you're exactly right.
That's scary. I don't care if you're a criminal or you're mother frickin' Teresa. That should scare you, right?
Yeah, I know for a fact from a very good authority that when it comes to tracking bad guys, yeah, they do exactly what you just outlined.
All right, so there's that, and I get it. I understand the utility in it, but it should scare everybody. And then the other thing is if we go back to the Patriot Act, planes hit the Twin Towers. It was very bad. It was a craptacular time in American life. Then we got the Patriot Act pushed through, which gave the government lots of powers for surveillance and whatnot. And Bob, when did the Patriot Act expire?
It hasn't, has it?
It has not. So they still have that. In fact, I just opened a checking account the other day. I had to read the Patriot Act disclosures that came with that, so I don't do online gambling with my account. Yada yada yada. Right?
Or give money to the Taliban.
Right. So somebody on Twitter brought up, I think rightly so, it's not necessarily that they want to do this. It's that they'll want to do this and not want to give back the powers that they've acquired.
Right. Not close the door. But I'm actually even wondering if they can push it to your phone and not even actually require a device startup. I feel like they're just pushing an icon to you because they already have all those capabilities built in.
Yeah, this is where I'm looking at my phone that's going on probably 5 years old now, thinking, well, maybe my phone's so old they can't just do this anymore because the pusher app no longer works because it was in like PHP or COBOL or something. And anyway, just saying.
Don't say COBOL because apparently they're looking for a bunch of COBOL programmers.
Oh,
now.
yeah, we've been talking about that at work too. Apparently, unemployment benefits only run on AS400 mainframes. Great.
Did you see that they ran out of money for small businesses today too?
Yeah. And then the Secretary of Treasury said that $1,200 should last anyone 10 weeks.
10 weeks.
10 weeks. You know how many months? 13 weeks is 3 months. So that's 2.5 months of rent would be due during that time. Right. So
I suppose it would last you that many weeks if you just left it loose in your pocket and you dropped a little bit of it every day.
There's just so much disconnect, I think, between those who have and those who have not.
Yeah. That's incredibly tone deaf.
Sorry,
I got us off track. Let's get back to this tracking application.
So back to the tracking app. So the last thing we're talking about, being able to give those powers back. So it's like, one of those, it's like a zip tie. You can make it tighter, but you can't loosen it ever, right? And this is just like a zip tie.
That is a great analogy.
Thank you.
You're on fire today.
Yeah. Those are the main things that really kind of scare me about that. And then I'll invoke again, second time, Bob. There is no such thing as privacy, according to Bob. And in principle, you're absolutely wrong. In practice, you're absolutely right. And I hate it.
Wait. In principle, I'm wrong, but in practice, I'm right. Is that what you said?
So
I just wanted to make sure I got that.
Yeah. So do you understand what I'm saying? I'm basically saying morally, I think, no, we need privacy. It's a thing. But in reality, it's like, damn, nothing is freaking private.
Yeah.
Nothing.
In an important document somewhere, it says we have the right to privacy. Unfortunately, there's no such thing as privacy.
Yeah. One day I'll try.
HIPAA does come close, though.
Yeah. My wife works at a hospital, and maybe you would or wouldn't. They terminate a lot of nurses and healthcare providers for HIPAA violations.
Well, that's their like under the health safety audit stuff. HIPAA auditing is like right up there.
I imagine, hey, we don't like Fred. Hey, find a HIPAA violation now, and Fred's gone like in 2 days. So I'm pretty sure they also use it for that as well. So
it's the ultimate scapegoat.
It is. So
sorry, we're going to have to let you go for a HIPAA violation. What? Yeah, you were carrying that piece of paper and we could see a person's name. Sorry, you're gone.
No, John Smith. Yes.
Yeah. I heard you announce loudly the patient's name as you entered the room. Sorry, we're going to have to let you go.
We noticed you doing your job over there. That's just not going to cut it. Sorry. So yeah. What about you? I mean, would you be willing to opt into an app if one got pushed to your phone?
I think if you would have asked me that a month ago, I would have said no. But I think having lived through this thing, I would be willing, and I don't think I would hide it from my friends if I were positive, because I think it's important to know. So yeah, I probably would slide the slider. Also, I would slide the slider knowing that it's a totally irrelevant action. They already could trace me anyway.
All right. And that's fine. I mean, just for completeness
Would
here.
you?
I would not want to use the app. I would definitely do contact tracing, which is, hey, I've got it, and the people I've been in contact with the last several days, I would let them know. I'd be like, hey, I don't know if I got it from you got it from me, but I got it. That's all I know. So you might want to get tested.
Kind of like those uncomfortable college phone calls,
Right. And so that takes me to my next point that I didn't have until you brought up, sliding the thing. What if I just get the app and I slide it to the right because I want to slide it to the right?
Well, yeah, I know. There's going to be all those false positives too. But that's just like false positives in testing. I think we've had people who've opted out of the social distancing already. I think just relying on people for anything is probably just a really bad practice. Like people en masse, like people as a society. I think I would hope that it's well-intentioned, like the idea of this app, but it would only have limited success because people would fuck it up.
Yeah, and somebody from the UK had mentioned, hey, if our government put it together, I'd be more inclined to use it. But if it's a big tech company, oh, hell no, because they've already ruined, their thing. But of course, then I look at it and go, well, any government that runs things, they usually hire the crappiest contractor that's
I'm reminded of a Democratic caucus with an app that was government contracted.
Remind me, didn't Trump say that Google was going to build them an app and they had 1,700 engineers? What app was that again?
The Our Leaders Full of Shit app is what it was.
I honestly can't remember. What was the app they were supposed to build? Did they ever build it?
No, because they were never involved with it. He totally fabricated
it was
that
vaporware, right?
Right. And I think Google was working on something totally separate as a prototype for California to be able to identify testing locations. And somehow Trump said that they were building it for the entire country. And who knows where the 1,700 engineers came from.
Got it.
Yeah, no, I think that was total just like dear leader riffing, as he often does.
Yep.
I had a really important question I was going to ask, and it was related to some of this shit, and I totally
42.
lost it.
That's all you need to know. 42.
No, it was actually another question I think related to technology and the tracking and whatnot, but it's gone. I lost it.
Could we invent any technology? Like, have you been thinking like some sort of shower thought? You're lathering up both hairs, and then and then sorry, ow, zinger, and then
I'm newly cleaned and shaven. That's why it looks so bald today.
Well, yeah, exactly. What technology?
So anyway, shower thought of a money making.
Yeah, what technology could we invent if we could just like crap something out and it would just cure this? I mean, didn't we learn anything from the Spanish flu pandemic in 1918? Isn't there something we can do to, I don't know.
No, I think the social distancing stuff is what we learned in 1918. Someone posted an article from 1918 talking about like not going outside, making sure you cover your face. Like the same exact things we're doing right now. Apparently, there's not much else that we can do. It's just one of those things. I think it's a herd thinner. It's Mother Nature trying to rebalance some scales.
What have you been seeing on Facebook? Because I was that one of those articles for the app on CNN. It was talking about how conspiracy theories are going crazy right now. Like they're saying, the COVID-19 was invented to thin out the population. It was made in a lab. It was a bioweapon that got out. Have you seen any crazy things that are getting traction?
The lab thing, but you did see today on CNN that they are actually investigating that now.
Who's they?
The government.
Which government?
So remember how like it was the Wuhan virus and then, whatever they were calling it. And then Chinese propaganda machine spun up and said that we sent it over there. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Like a couple weeks ago? So that kind of died off. And now we are back on, it was engineered in a lab sorry, Alex Jones just totally, I channeled him because this is such a tinfoil hat bullshit thing. But now CNN on their homepage, I think it migrated all the way to the far left column now, the near left column, as I call it, the main column, that they're investigating if it indeed was made in a lab in China. So that's the one that has been the biggest traction one that I've seen on social media.
Interesting.
But I did remember the question that I was going to ask about the tracking. So we had talked about government, right? Doing the app and people would feel more secure with it. Even if it was the government or if it's still Apple and Google, that data is going to leak, the positives in their locations. And then there's going to be this whole scam, ripple effect of people who did test positive getting, emails or robocalls and, wanting them to sign up for something or pay to get something or, sue the Chinese government to get relief from your pain and suffering from COVID-19.
Right.
It's like, it will never end. Tracking's bad.
You know what the world needed right now? We needed more things to divide us, right?
Yes.
So the battles that I'm seeing are with the economy. They just had a big protest in Michigan, just north of here. All that fun stuff. And
open up now.
Yeah. And with respect, most jobs in Michigan and some around here are the Rust Belt. It's car part industry. I don't know how many cars are getting sold right now. I don't know how many cars are getting made right now. Probably not many.
Dude, Owen just got a sweet deal on a brand new Subaru Impreza. I think they're literally trying to give away cars.
Wow, I need to go out to Colorado.
No, he got it in Texas.
Oh, interesting. Isn't
Texas also is barely shut down in this whole thing, by the way.
Colorado, they hand you a Subaru as soon as you get across the border, right? It's
the state bird.
Here's a T-shirt, here's a little tiny flag, and here's a Subaru, right?
Here's a sample of our finest marijuana, and here's your Subaru. Nice.
Oh man. Okay, so
the Colorado welcome kit.
Have you seen the Netflix series? I think it's called Pandemic, yeah, I think it's called Pandemic. Now I got to Google it.
No, months and months ago, what it feels like when this all started, we were binging a bunch of pandemic type movies and series, but we got burnout before we got to Pandemic.
Yeah, so
it's like a docu-series,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, exactly. It's 6 episodes in it. I think it released in January or so. I mean, the timing couldn't have been more perfect. Of course, it was produced, in 2019 early, but man, it's scary how much you watch that and you're like, wow.
Well, the writing on the wall for years has been, this is coming. Everyone's like, holy shit, this totally snuck up on us. But everyone else is saying, nope, we've been screaming it from the rafters for years and years and years. This is coming. And guess what? It came.
It's here. So, being in IT, this has been a, interesting place, and I'm going to segue, if you don't mind, we can come back to this. Been doing a lot of live streaming lately. A lot of servers are kind of, I don't know, taxed, if you will. But we've been using apps like OBS to be able to broadcast live stream, and a lot of people have been doing that. Question for you, do you think that there's been a significant amount of shift to working from home and live streaming? Do you think we're going to have less and less in-person conferences, college, things like that? Do we think we're on just some new alternate reality path forever?
Facebook just announced today, I believe, that they canceled all large things till 2022.
Events?
Yeah, any large events. Which is so interesting because there's so many ripple effects from these large events not going off, economical economic ripple effects. But yeah, to answer your question, short as I can, because apparently I got diarrhea of the mouth today. That yeah, I think that everything's changing. Colleges, Harvard yesterday was talking about, will fall 2021 or will fall 2020 happen in person, or will, I think universities are already looking past fall semester. Like, what are we going to do in the spring? For the fall, we're going to be out of classic still.
So you've got.
So yeah, I think everything's changing.
So let's go down the college path, and feel free to punt on any of these pointy questions. But you've got a child, a daughter, and currently enrolled in college.
Yes.
Are they offering refunds or anything at this point, or they're just like, nope, this is the same thing, and just go on Zoom, and yep, there's your degree, or whatever.
It's funny. As far as the per credit, per class type fees, nothing's changing there. In true capitalist fashion, she has a credit toward room and board and a credit toward her dining plan. Not refund, credit.
Of course.
So eventually when they go back, it's like she's got money in her account. But I mean, yeah, it's
better.
I think
than
that's
nothing,
fair.
But okay.
Right, but I don't know what the repercussions are. Like, let's say that she has a life-changing event and doesn't return in the fall. Does that money just go away, or does she get that, 30% of her spring semester back?
That's a very good question. I'm pretty sure people are reevaluating going to in-person college. Period. They may look at it and go, I'm just going to do an online degree somewhere.
I saw some people colleges posting about already seeing a decrease for enrollment.
And because enrollment's down, revenue's down. Yes, I look at college as a business because it is. I don't care if they're nonprofit. All you got to do is raise rates and pay yourself more, and then you can, you're still
right.
nonprofit. Right. So what I see also is the standard for getting into some of these colleges is probably getting lower and lower because there's just a lot of empty seats going to be in these colleges.
I read that they're contemplating not having any kind of SAT or ACT requirement for incoming freshmen for 2020 fall.
Interesting.
Yeah, so standards are totally changing. Like, everything is changing because they want to keep the seats, quote unquote, seats filled. So
I see, we've got a lot of colleges, big and small. I can't imagine some of the smaller ones are going to survive this. They're just going to be gone. Some
are going to close up without a doubt.
And
kind of tangentially on the having a kid in college thing. It's a weird. So like, this is a weird time period already, like without a doubt, it's just weird. But you have that weird situation where your child that's in school is 18. So they're an adult. So the communication is primarily between the university and the student, even if the parents are co-signers on loans or actually paying out of their own pocket, yada, yada, yada. So things like the credit and the refund situations, it's hard to monitor those because those communications aren't happening with the parents.
That seems
Also
a little
very
predatory, but maybe I'm overstating that.
I think as a parent, like you are and I am, I think your gut reaction is that. But then when you frame that, like, we both have adult children who aren't in school either. So when something happens to our adult child who's not in school, we're not always there. Like, Owen bought a car. He didn't even need us. Like, he did consult us, but he didn't need us to co-sign or anything like that. So yeah, also probably predatory. He probably got put in a car that was more than he really honestly can't afford. But
speaking of tough jobs right now, selling cars has got to be terrible. So everything's changed. Like
selling airplane tickets, I think, is really hard too.
Probably. So the commercials, they've even changed on the television, right? So the local car dealerships want you to call for an appointment if you want to buy a car. And if I'm in sales, and I've been in sales before, I look at that going, hey, if somebody calls me, this is a really good lead.
Yeah,
right.
It's a solid lead for sure.
Right. Somebody who actually wants to buy a car. They're not just here to like look at something.
Window shop.
Yeah.
Right.
They're probably ready. And so I wonder if this will fundamentally change some of those industries where it's like, hey, you want to buy a car, make an appointment. I
think it's going to change every industry. Like our in our apartment complex, the office isn't open. Like, you only see apartments virtually online now, and you sign a lease based on that. Like, I mean,
I opened a checking account. I opened a checking account yesterday through the drive-thru. It was really weird.
Which would never happen prior.
Never. So it started with an email to me. I filled it out, made a wet signature, took my document. It was for business checking. And then I took it in and I had to interact with her through the vacuum tube system. And it was just, this is like, wow, this is we're 6 months ago, we are amazing. We're invincible. We are the greatest civilization ever. Fast forward 6 months, I have to open a loan through a drive-thru. It's like, what has happened?
Yeah, I see a lot of people like writing about the thoughts on what new normal is going to look like, and I just don't think anybody knows right now. I think one thing for sure is that it'll never go back. Oh, well, I can't say never, but I hope that it never goes back to what it was. I think there's great lessons to be learned here, and things can change, and they probably should. It's just like which pieces should we hold on to that we might not be able to.
Well, think about sports stadiums. A lot of people in a very small amount, area. So how do those go forward? Because, right now they're talking about bringing back sports, but only the players, no fans. And I'm totally like, hey, cool, that's fine. But is the future, I mean, this could be the seminal moment, or one of the seminal moments of humanity. The next stadium may just be the basketball court. It may be just the football field, just the hockey rink. And then everything is, you watch it in your home. I mean, that could be the future.
I don't want to open this can of worms this late in the broadcast, but
do it.
Are those models of entertainment even sustainable without stadiums? Like, do the TV deals hold it together, or do ticket sales hold it together? I don't know.
I don't either. I know, like CBS or ESPN, they spend billions per year or per whatever. So tons of their revenue is to put a product on television. The tickets, I think, are couple-fold. Having fans there is part of the ambiance, because you at home watching people cheer and scream, that's actually part of the magic of it. So if you're watching...
Have you watched any comedy shows without audiences? They're terrible.
Well, Saturday Night Live did it through Zoom last Saturday. Have you watched any of that?
I did. The skits were cute, but like anything that's got a monologue, like if you watch any of the late night hosts trying to do their stuff from home without audiences, terrible.
Yeah, and I think they had a few fake laugh tracks that were just like terrible. But yeah, so some things are just meant for people to experience in person, music, a beer, sporting events. Those are like some of the big ones. Basically what's shut down right now is meant to have people. So you can survive in a moving forward, but sports is really going to have to look hard at that and go, do we really want to build a $100 million football stadium going forward? They probably will, because I think right now, I don't think that lesson or anything's changed on that front. Like, they're building one in Las Vegas for the Oakland, now to be Las Vegas Raiders.
Yes, but they've been building that for years.
That's true. They're not going to give up now, but there's going to be a V.Next stadium somewhere. And it will be interesting to see if that changes at all. My prediction is it won't change anything at all, because it's such uncharted territory to be like, you know what, we created this amazing football stadium that has a great places to stick cameras, but no people. Does that work? I mean, just people will be fighting tradition, and all that. So, wow.
Or say they open up the stadium, but they only sell tickets for every other seat because of social distancing. So then is it even worth it to sell the tickets? Because does the ticket sales... I just don't know how that all equates together.
Well, it's got to be less than every other seat, because you got people in front of you and behind you that they have to be now offset, and it just right. Turns into this weird thing. And then wait, Bob, you and I can't go to the football game? Well, we can, but we have to sit every other seat, very guy style, It's like the urinal rules now apply.
The urinal rules. Urinal rules in full effect at all large gatherings.
So, and that just ruins it. I mean, how many times have you been to a sporting event and you're like, God, what did I should have just stayed home and watched the damn thing on TV anyway.
Every time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I like going to Notre Dame games and whatnot, but the best part of the Notre Dame game isn't the game. The best part is out in the parking lot, buying food from the students who are cooking, just that right there. And that will have to go away, right? I mean, maybe not, but
at least for the time being, I think it's going to.
I'm
going to be very curious to see what happens. I'm going to be very curious to see what happens with football season. Very curious.
Yeah, I am too, because right now, I think football people are going, we'll be fine. It's a long ways from now. But every day that goes by, it gets a little closer.
Well, think about the financial implications of college football not happening.
Yes.
That's such a big money deal.
Right. And I've heard him talking about that on online, where the football revenue is so important to most colleges, it pays for everything else. And if that football revenue goes away,
right,
it's not about the tuition anymore. It could be, well, we went out of business because we can't play football. And it could be that simple.
Yep. That could implode way more universities, I think, than distance learning.
Speaking of sports, I know I'm really extending this podcast. You see ESPN, they hosted a at-home game of horse, and then everyone had to set up like their own tripod and video cameras, and then everyone's in their own home, like these famous people are playing horse. Did you see that?
I did not, but I have seen a lot of examples of creativity along those lines. So Fox Sports was broadcasting esports as soon as this all went down, because NCAA folded up, March Madness did, and they started broadcasting Madden games, like Madden football, like esports players against.
Yeah, ESPN is just
Crazy.
like totally out of content right now. They're just like sucking air really hard. Disney, which owns ESPN, they had to furlough 43,000 people at their parks and whatnot. The ripple effect is ridiculous. Unemployment's like 6 million per week are losing their jobs. Eventually, that 6 million is not too many more weeks before that starts encroaching everybody. Because we can't just be like, well, I'm in IT or I'm in the medical industry, I'm recession proof. Well, you are to a point, but if the rest of the economy falls apart, they don't need your services anymore. They can't afford your services anymore. So we've got this classic juxtaposition between public health and the economy, and you see it in the news. The politics are definitely, there. And this was a thing early on in should we shut down or should we not shut down, and lots of heated arguments about that. And did we shut down too late, in hindsight and finger pointing. But through all this, humanity has changed. 100 years from now, they'll be like, hey, remember the COVID-19, thing? Grandpa, tell us, it won't be in 100 years, but maybe 20 years. Tell us about the COVID-19. Oh, yeah, it sucked.
Jesus, I really hope that this is the landmark that we'll tell our kids about, but I feel like that's probably not the case.
I feel this is only chapter 1 of a long book.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I'm definitely with you on that.
So the silver lining for me for all this is I think we're starting to, I think, break some stigmas about working from home. We're breaking some stigmas about wearing masks in public, because as Americans, most people are like, that's what they do in Asia, not in America. America.
I think this one's going to hang around for a long time here in the States too.
So I really think that part of your standard gear is going to be having a mask. And they haven't really talked about it unless you've heard something, but I really think we need to go to like a protocol. Hey, so in the military, we had something called MOP protocol, Mission Oriented Protective Posture. It's MOP, it's an acronym. And so when you go into battle, you could be at MOP 0 or 1, and then it escalates to like 4. And when you get all the way to 4, you look like Desert Storm, where you got everything kitted up. You look like you're the boogeyman because you've got your gas mask on, you've got everything. So I really think we need a civilian version that says, okay, we're at whatever level 1, which means basically normal. 2 is, okay, social distancing is in place. 3, everyone has to work from home if they can. 4, then escalate this. Okay, masks are required in public. And I'm hoping that comes out of here. Not because I want to do all these things, but I think we need to be able to communicate and coordinate like that. Be like, hey, Indiana or Colorado, we're at whatever protocol 3, which everyone knows, okay, this is, employers. Don't fuck with the employees. They're working from home. God damn it. None of this, well, you can't work from home. Well, we don't really support. No, they're working from home or they're just going to be at home and you can't fire them. Sorry. Or something like that.
I think that will come out after the second rubber band. So like I have a rubber band theory. So right now, everything's relaxed and we're all at home. We're all doing the things we're supposed to do. As soon as they start opening things back up, that rubber band's going to get tighter, and then we're going to have to snap back to right where we are right now. And they won't come up with the protocol, but the next time, and then, when we start to peek out from our shells and we get kicked in the head again and we snap back inside, then they're going to be like, all right, we're going to take this in stages. Stage 1 is this. It looks like this. Stage 2 will probably trickle down from 4 down to 1, open up slow, but it's going to take a couple rebounds.
I think it's coming because we have 2 precedences of when this has actually been and is still in place. We have defense condition, which is also known as DEFCON 1, DEFCON 2. And that's very military oriented and Cold War, hey, we're DEFCON 5. You're basically gonna get nuked tonight, or 1. I can't remember if 1's worse or 5. I'd always have to Google it. And then secondly, we have the terrorism colors. Remember the color thing that's still around? Yep. Like we're at orange. What the fuck's orange mean? I don't know. Google it. But the terrorism thing can never go down to like the bottom one, which means there's no threat, because there's always a threat. So why do you even have that one? So I think we'll eventually have a system, and so I think that's coming, and I think it's needed.
Well, let's talk about the thing we did solve today. Kevin solved that we need an independent auditing agency for our online security status, basically, right? Our data privacy.
Who owns what your stuff, and what are you allowing them to, what is your current opt-in out status with them?
Right. Like like the credit reporting agency, but for data.
Exactly. Yep. So that's what I think would be useful. And then basically it could be government, it could be private, whatever, but there's a mandate from the government that says you need to report to an agency if you have an account with Bob or with Kevin, you need to report that, and you need to report whether or not you're still actively taking in information from them. And furthermore, what sort of information do you have on them? And at the end, this is where people are like rolling their eyes and going, oh my gosh, how hard this will be, Kevin. Yeah, well, I don't care. Here's the steps you need to take to close your account and delete everything as best you can on the internet.
Yep. I think that's a good one. I think hopefully we get toward that in the coming years. I think another thing that we solved is that tracking this disease via your mobile device as an opt-in app, probably not going to work.
Yeah, I think it's just too wishful thinking, too sketchy. I think it's one of those, it feels good, but is it doing good? And I shake my head. Yeah, it feels good. Yeah, we should do that. Is it actually going to do good? Probably not. Nope, probably not. We'll get a government contract out of it. Yep, probably. That's why Google and Apple will be like, this is great.
Exactly. Free money for them. And then I think finally in the waning minutes of the program, we solved coming up with a DEFCON chart for getting back to normal as a society. I think that's a pretty good one.
That's
actually.
Right. Yeah, we actually solved something serious. So for the 2 people that might listen to this, hi, Mom. I'm kidding. Yes, take that information and go, both of you.
My family. You still doing that podcast thing?
Yes.
Yeah, almost every week. Same as always.
Yep, 60% of the time we do it every week.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to get back to that because you know what? The Bob and Kevin Show is opening up its economy. We're going to get back to regular business.
That's right.
Bob's going to be better.
All right. Well, that's good stuff, Bob. Guess we'll do it again some other time.
Find us on social media. Let us know what you think about some of the things we talked about today. Twitter is probably the best place. The @BobandKevin Show on Twitter. And we'll check you out soon. Have a great day, week, month.
Bye.
Till next time. Bye.
Hey, have you ever wondered how you can get in touch with us at the Bob and Kevin Show?
Well, first, you can try us via email at comments@bobandkevinshow.com.
Or are you more into social? If so, you can find us on Twitter at Bob and Kevin Show.
Or on Instagram as Bob Kevin Show.
That's Bob, the letter N, Kevin Show.
And if you're still on Facebook, you can even find us at facebook.com/Bob and Kevin Show.
And for the serious business fans, you can even find us on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/company/the-Bob-Kevin-Show.
How's that for a handle? Let's connect.